Right now, society is dealing with a massive, well-documented loneliness epidemic. Millions of people are desperately searching for real human connection. Yet, there is a specific group of people who are quietly doing the exact opposite. You look at your phone, see a text from someone who constantly drains your energy, and you simply delete it. You cut them off. And here is the reality that makes everyone else so uncomfortable. When you walk away from these people, you don't feel sad. You don't feel broken. You feel an overwhelming, almost unfamiliar sense of peace. So how did you get here? How did you become the person who can sever a tie without looking back? Because the truth is, you weren't always like this. For years, you were the anchor. You were the friend who answered the phone in the middle of the night. You were the peacekeeper in your family. You absorbed everyone else's chaos, listened to their endless complaints, and gave everything you had to help them. But they never poured back into your cup, not in the way you needed. Until one day, an invisible line was crossed. You stopped reaching out. You stopped explaining yourself, and something unexpected happened. The sky didn't fall. The room just got incredibly quiet. When you stopped trying, society might have called you cold or avoidant, but your brain was actually executing a highly evolved survival mechanism. Psychologists rely on something called the Polyvagal theory, pioneered by Dr. Porges, to explain exactly what happens to you in these moments. Your autonomic nervous system is constantly scanning your environment for safety, and when you spend years in relationships where people take more than they give, your nervous system eventually realizes that social engagement is no longer safe. It becomes a threat to your energy. So your brain doesn't wait. It bypasses your conscious mind and flips a biological circuit breaker. It forces you into what is known as the dorsal vagal shutdown. You don't withdraw because you're a bad friend. You withdraw because your nervous system is desperately trying to conserve your emotional energy before you completely collapse. But now we have to ask a deeper question. Why is your nervous system so sensitive to this kind of emotional drain in the first place? For a lot of people who easily cut others off, the answer doesn't start in adulthood. It starts in childhood. If you grew up in a house where you had to tiptoe around adults, then you already know exactly what this means. You learned how to read the emotional weather of a room before you even knew how to properly read a book. Renowned psychiatrist Dr. Bowen coined the term emotional cutoff to describe this exact phenomenon. You learned at a very young age that emotional closeness could feel dangerous, unpredictable, even chaotic. So you adapted. You developed an incredibly thick skin. You learned that the only place you were truly safe was in your own solitude. And that childhood blueprint is still operating inside you today. But here's the part that most people completely miss. There's a massive difference between building a wall out of fear and building a fence out of self-respect. Medical statistics constantly warn us that chronic isolation can damage your physical health, increasing the risk of heart disease and even cognitive decline. But what those studies often don't emphasize enough is that being surrounded by toxic, draining people can destroy your body just as fast. So how do you know the difference? How do you know if you're isolating out of fear or protecting yourself out of wisdom? You look at the data your body gives you. If you cut someone off and you feel a deep physical sense of relief, then you are not isolating. You are detoxing. You are not building a wall to keep everyone out. You are building a boundary to decide exactly who deserves a seat at your table. And the truth is, you are incredibly good at deciding who gets that seat. People who are quick to cut others off are often master pattern recognizers. Recent neurological studies show that individuals who grew up having to manage other people's emotions develop highly active frontal lobes in threat detection centers. You are not paranoid. You simply process social data faster and deeper than most people. When someone love bombs you, you can already see the crash coming. When a friend only calls because they need a favor, you recognize the pattern instantly. Your brain has already processed thousands of hours of human behavior, building a highly advanced early warning system. And when that system tells you that someone is going to drain you, you don't argue with it anymore. You listen. You are not antisocial. You are simply highly selective. There is a profound difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a state of emotional starvation. It is wanting connection and not having it. But solitude is a state of intentional stillness. It is choosing the quiet because the quiet feels safe, rich, and entirely yours. You are not sitting in your room waiting for your phone to ring. You are sitting in the quiet, finally able to breathe without carrying someone else's chaos. People who don't understand your boundaries will say that you are running away, but you already know the truth. You are not running away from people. You are moving toward a version of yourself that refuses to live in chaos. That is not isolation. That is a sanctuary. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are not heartless. You are simply someone who learned the hard way that your peace is expensive and not everyone can afford a place in your life. The Harvard study of adult development, the longest-running study on human happiness, proved something very simple. It is not the number of people in your life. It is the quality and the safety of those relationships that truly matter. So if your circle is small, but it is real, if it is filled with people who genuinely respect your peace, then you are not doing it wrong. You are doing it exactly right. And if this message hit home for you, I'd really appreciate you subscribing to Mind Nest. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt that deep sense of relief after finally walking away. And always remember, protect your peace.